Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching the AM show. Now let's bring you AM business. Fire outbreaks in Ghana have become a significant concern, affecting homes, markets, and public institutions, leading to devastating losses. But what has been the state of fire insurance in Ghana? James Eshen is on the beat and has been exploring the prospects and challenges affecting the effectiveness of fire insurance. And he tells us more in this report.
Fire insurance is generally not mandatory in Ghana, but highly recommended for property owners to safeguard their investment and mitigate financial risk associated with fire damage. The insurance is a type of property insurance that provides coverage against financial losses resulting from fire-related damages or destruction to buildings, content, or asset. Over the years, Ghana records thousands of fire outbreaks according to the Ghana Fire Service. The Ghana Fire Service in 2024 said a total of 5,596 fire outbreaks was recorded between January and November. This affected families, properties, and businesses for both the formal and the informal sector.
Millions of cities have been destroyed. So we are pleading for the government, the new elect government that is coming in, to come and assist us. Many of them, the ladies and the women, some of them have been collapsed. They have been rushed to hospital. Some of them have been died. Just what happened right now. You can see the way I'm speaking. Even I cannot speak well. By the grace of God, that me too, my own have not been consumed. So we are pleading. You can see I'm shaking. I've never experienced such things before.
One of the biggest concerns have been the education of fire insurance across all sectors. The National Insurance Commission over the years has intensified its sensitization and enforcement drive on the compulsory property insurance. But many businesses and Ghanaians say more education is needed.
We need more education on fire insurance. They should find a way to have an insurance policy for some of us. I think insurance is good, and I am not saying this because of the situation I find myself now.
Fire insurance and insurance generally.
I really want more education on insurance, especially with fire.
Na ni nyina ebeboa yen ya se etu se ne yen nyina yete ase ye ne ewo bia nka e bia nka se ne ayedi abobo nka e ma ne sa after this we consider say obeye pa meye bi pa ebi banko a kire na mete ase yi a ebeboa me nko ade a meye bi pa aside financial insurance ya there be o we need your life insurance me boss
Insurance ne de enke eyeja enke beboa yen enke ba ne sei anka.
We have been affected, and I wish there is an insurance policy for some of us, but the insurance companies do not want to take the risk. I think an alternative policy will be good for us.
So almost de aboa nti nka ba ye nka ya ye bia nka ebeboa ye ba sande shops no nyina ahye ene ba bia.
Our shops are all bent and I have to start all over again.
As I affected me my back to square one. Matsi by market no omo ma e me chere say and I me kura matsi a me nim say bia so many ya better me saying so be your heart as I may be answer.
Insurance sector players also consider so many factors before insuring a business. But what are these requirements and other considerations?
Fire insurance is an insurance policy designed by insurance companies to provide coverage for damages or loss of properties caused by fire and related perils. So if you have your property and you insure it against fire with an insurance company and there's a fire outbreak, you can as well go to your insurance companies for compensation against any losses that you have suffered as a result of damage to either the property or any asset that you insured. And fire insurance is compulsory in Ghana. Section 218 and 219 of the 2021 Insurance Act 1061 mandates each individual or company to have a fire insurance policy to cover their commercial properties. So if you have a commercial property and you don't have any fire insurance against it, the law can deal with you. So which means if you have a property which you use for commercial purpose, like for a school, for a mall, a recreative center, a financial institution like banks, hospitals and stuff, so you have to ensure that you have a fire insurance to cover such properties. And in purchasing fire insurance, insurance companies would demand for certain details or will request for certain details from the owner of the property before they can issue the policy. Some of the requirements include the name of the owner of the property, the phone number of the owner of the property, the address of the owner, then the occupation of the owner, and also where the property is located is very key in considering the premium that insurance companies will charge. And see that the premium that will be coming from such places are very minimal, so they won't even like to insure such properties. And most insurance are also reluctant because of the inadequate risk assessment data. Insurers currently don't have enough data to rely on in terms of the structured protocols and the safety precautions and the loss history happening around these places. So the lack of data prevents insurance companies from venturing into or insuring properties located in such areas, and also high claim history. Historically, there have been several market fires, and based on the history of high losses recorded as a result of fires, insurance companies are reluctant in insuring properties that belong to these places. And so there is a gap between insurance for marketplaces, and so insurance companies have to close the gap. Insurance companies and the government as a whole have to ensure that they create public awareness, so educating the traders on the importance of insurance, in the importance of fire insurance and why they need fire insurance. When we educate them of the importance of insurance, it will make them understand what they are buying in, and it will motivate them to get fire insurance for their properties, and also it will motivate them to put in the necessary risk mitigation measures to ensure that their property is safeguarded.
The Ghana Insurers Association is also worried about the recent devastating fire that ravaged the Kantamanto market and other markets across the country. First, they say it's causing huge damage to several shops and properties. The association says it has made provisions for privately owned businesses to insure their properties regardless of setbacks for the compulsory fire insurance.
What we can alternatively do is that we create a pool, a certain pool from which there is a certain amount that is dedicated as premium, and then a certain amount that will be determined as to whether when there is a disaster like this, then we will definitely get to compensate anyone. But how? How do we fund such a system? Are we going to get government to contribute into that pool? But we are all in this country, we are aware that government, for even their statutory or constitutionally mandated obligations like the District Common Fund, are behind schedule. How are we going to be able to take the fractions and invest them and be able to pay? All right. I heard Doctor mention when I was offline that there are issues like we go to where the risk is better. No, we are ready to take risks. We take risks and we prepare for them. At the last disaster in 2015, if I remember very well, which was flood, because fire is completely linked to flood. A lot of reinsurers, both internally and externally, ask insurance companies not to assume any risk around such places. We have gone on and then done 3 loss surveys, recommended risk improvement, which is part of what we do to say that if you're able to do these things and reduce the frequency of occurrence of the losses, we'll be able to grant cover and cover you at the time of need.
All right, Seth.
Unfortunately, as we're having this conversation now, once we finish these discussions, we are all going to go to bed until there's a next fire or there's a next flood or something. But something can be done about it. I sure the insurance industry is ready to support people in times of disaster.
In all of this, what is the role of the Ghana Fire Service?
I would say people's negligence is part. The weather obviously is also part. But people's nonchalant attitude towards fires is a problem. We constantly carry out fire education, but people's reception towards our officers who carry out this education is not something to write home about. So until as a people, we tend to concentrate and change our perception when it comes to fires. Unfortunately, we might be recording fires like that. As a service, we have not reneged on our commitment to protect the good people of Ghana. So even before the Christmas and before the elections, we had constituted this fire safety task force. Again, also, we had come up with the night patrols in market areas. So the only difference is that, as per what the president has instructed, the only difference is that this time around, we are going to mount fire tenders permanently at the markets from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day to be able to protect major markets. But as a service, we've anticipated this. We put our plans in place, and trust me, but for our measures that we are putting in place, we would have recorded much more market fires than we have in this past few days.
Talking about market fires, these are the informal sector of the economy, and they also contribute largely to our economy. One concern had to do with fire insurance. Most of these women have little or no idea when it comes to fire insurance. From the fire service, where do you guys come in when it comes to fire insurance?
Well, for informal sectors like this, it's difficult for the fire service to come in with insurance. But where the informal, well, I would say even with the informal, they have shops. So per the requirement, once you're running a pub or you have a commercial building, it's required by law that you have a fire certificate. And a lot of regulatory agencies or insurance companies insist that you get a fire certificate as a requirement before you are issued with an insurance. So that is where we come in. So without the fire certificate, then it means, because the fire certificate would prove that you've protected yourself adequately from fire, obviously to reduce the risk of making claims. So once you are running a commercial entity or before you insure, you'd have to get a fire certificate so that it goes to help to make sure that you are putting the right measures in place. So it's about time. Almost, I think it's a requirement. All the insurance companies insist that you get a fire certificate before you are insured.
I've engaged some insurance companies, and I'm being told, looking at the risk involved, like a place like Kantamantu, insuring such a place would be very difficult. And yet, these are the places that seem to be affected most when it comes to these fire outbreaks and all of that. From fire service, do you think maybe there's a need for these insurance companies should also consider maybe having any insurance policy at least to support these women probably starting? Because yes, they may not have a structure, may probably be in a wooden structure, just as what we're seeing in Kantamantu now. But yes, upon my interaction with some of them, I'm being told if there is something of that sort, maybe they could also try and buy some of these insurance. Do you think there's a need for us to also go in for any insurance that could also, or develop an insurance policy that could also support these little businesses?
Yes, it's important to get these insurance for these little businesses. At least it has both its advantage and disadvantage. Sometimes when people feel they have insurance, they can sometimes be careless because they don't make claims. So it becomes a two-sided, a two-edged sword. But then insurance would compel them to also get fire certificates, which would also help in putting measures in place. Because once the insurance company is insisting that you should get a fire certificate, it means that you'd have to get early fire detection systems like smoke detectors. It means that you'd have to get fire extinguishers mounted, and this requirements would even help, even one with fire prevention. And then when there's the risk of fires, it helps to mitigate the cost or the loss that they would have incurred as a result of the fire.
I want some education when it comes to the punitive measures given to especially businesses who have structures and are failing to go in for an insurance policy. Is there any punitive measure if you fail to comply by that?
There's a punitive measure, but sometimes the political will, to enforce some of these punitive measures become a problem. And so I think more effort needs to be put in to make sure that enforcement is ensured, to make sure that people conform to this insurance, because ordinarily we see a lot of this insurance going to the formal sectors, but not really in the informal. So I believe a concerted effort needs to be put in place to make sure that enforcement, is spread wide.
What is the relationship like, considering you and these insurance companies?
Oh, the Ghana National Fire Service has a very good relationship with the National Insurance Commission. They helped us with the construction of our forensic lab building. They helped a lot. So we have a good relationship with them, and so day in, day out, we keep having concerted discussions with them on how to improve upon the mutual interest between the Ghana National Fire Service and the Insurance Commission. So moving forward, I believe there's more room for improvement, and I'm hoping that in this new year, more opportunities will be explored.
The Insurance Law Act 724 of 2006 makes it compulsory for privately owned business entities to insure their properties, but many are yet to comply. The law per sections 183 and 184 makes it mandatory for all commercial properties either under construction or completed to have valid insurance certificate. James Echen's report for Joy Business.